fun stuff. We're going to talk about the affirmative strategy. Here we're talking about the affirmative packet. I want to take a couple of seconds and I want to note a few things. This organization of the packet is different than previous years of the packet. Normally, it will be inherency or even harms, inherency, solvency. It may be a little bit different, but the plan is the first thing you'll see now. There's a few important reasons for this. Number one, if the kids do not introduce the plan into the debate, they have not introduced something that can solve the problem of the harms they're about to introduce. So we want to make sure that they start getting the entirety of the plan out for the judges, because if the judges don't know what they're advocating for, it's hard for them to win a debate. You'll also notice that the harms come second, which are then followed by solvency. Now, this is also very important. If your kids are not at a level where they're reading at a very fast pace and you notice that they don't finish the 1AC in time, it's okay for you to remove the second card in the harms advantage and have your kids read it later. But we want to make sure that they introduce both the plan, inherency, harms, and solvency. That way they can tell what the plan is, tell what the problem is that's occurring in the status quo, and talk about why the plan actually solves the problems. Without all four of those components, your negative team can get up and say, well, they didn't read a plan, so they can't really solve the problem. Or they didn't read solvency, so they don't have anyone that advocates for solving the plan. Or if they don't read the harms, then why should I care if we get rid of mass surveillance? It's not a problem. All four of those components must be introduced in the 1AC. So let's talk about the 1AC for a second. First, you'll notice that the plan. And it says, due to the harms associated with NSA surveillance, my partner and I, insert your student's name there, propose the following plan. The United States federal government should enact the Surveillance State Repeal Act, and that is defined in your glossary terms. There's only one inherency card. The affirmative says that the NSA has overstepped its bounds and is currently spying on all Americans in an attempt to locate terrorists. The ProPublica 13 piece of evidence details how this is happening. It says that billions of calls, emails, texts, social media are being collected on a daily basis. Now, some of you may say that we've introduced a new law into the framework. This is very important. The current law doesn't take effect until the end of the year. There will be updates that will come throughout the year, so don't worry about that, okay? But this bulk collection of data is what is called metadata, the collection of all these emails, text messages, and social media. Next, we go to the harms, which is the Valeri 13 piece of evidence. That says that surveillance is making it hard for humans to communicate and is encroaching on their human rights. If you are aware that someone is constantly communicating with you, there may be things you don't want to put on social media or even tell your parents. You may not want to tell your parents that you need money because you're about to get kicked out of your apartment because you did something that wasn't probably the best thing for you to do. You may be afraid that gets out to people that you don't want to know. Or more so, what if you were about to announce the fact that one of the presidential candidates has been actually engaging in terrorist activity and financing terrorists overseas, but if you knew that they would retaliate against you, you may censor some of the things you'd be willing to say. Valeri says that is happening subconsciously because we're afraid of the government and what they're going to be doing. Take Edward Snowden. Has Edward Snowden come back home for Thanksgiving, Christmas, or any other holidays? Probably not, because he's afraid of what is going to occur to him once he comes back to the United States. The last piece of evidence is a Sadowski, it's pronounced Sadowski, 2013 piece of evidence, which says that privacy must be viewed in a different light. Sadowski cites that Georgetown law professor Julie E. Cohen believes that privacy isn't just for the protection of personal data, but it actually creates a small kind of space for individuals to become who they always wanted to be. Individuals, when they are growing up, think about it when you were a kid. When you were 5 years old, you didn't know anything about the world, but you knew if you went and hid under a table and had your private little space, that you could play with your toys and do the things you wanted to do and allow for you to be who you wanted to be. While you may not be playing with toys right now, you are still looking for a private space to become who it is you want to be and enjoy the life that you see fit. Cohen says that this allows for citizenry, which means the citizens of the United States, to develop a better society, one free from conflict and judgment. Think about some of the things that are happening right now in America. Think about the fact of how those things grew. Those things grew in private settings away from coercion from dominant groups. Sadowski is a very powerful piece of evidence. It is going to be used to justify why you should not encroach on privacy because it is a human right, and that terrorism should not be a reason to take that away. The last piece of evidence is a piece of Claiborne evidence, from this year. says that the SSRA solves these issues. The SSRA removes the various tools that the NSA has to collect metadata. It doesn't allow for you to store metadata. It doesn't allow for you to collect cell phone records. It doesn't allow for you to do a number of different things that they're occurring to. And I suggest your kids both read the card that's in the 1AC and the article. It specifically says that warrantless collection of millions of personal communications from innocent Americans is a direct violation of the constitutional right of privacy. That is the affirmative strategy. We'll see you soon.